Thank you. I just have this, it's something that's happened to me several times over the last few years, and what it is I'll be sitting somewhere or standing, and it is a pulse. Best way I can describe it. It just comes and it goes, and it's a fraction of a second, and it sounds in my head literally like an electric current, like a kind of like that, and I feel it, and then it's done. And I don't necessarily feel different before or after. I'm wondering what it is.
Well, when you accept that everything is vibrational, and you are now paying attention to what kind of thoughts you were thinking when it happens, you'll be able to identify it as it happens. But it is a shifting upward in energy. In other words, in that moment, something happened that's caused you to release enough resistance that a little movement in your energy took place. And we would say it's significant enough that you were able to interpret it through your physical being.
Because it's significant. Like it shoots out of me.
Yeah, it's energy moving. But what gives you the sensation of it shooting is, here's the way we want you to look at it. If what we say is true, and we promise you it is, that you are source energy and that the larger part of you is here calling you to this, then we want you to get a steady picture that momentum is always calling you to it. And unless you're doing that thing you do that is keeping you from going, you're going to go. So in the absence of some resistance, finding a thought path that gives you a little clearer pipe, so to speak, or in the softening of the resistance, you have that movement toward who you are. And that's why it's that whooshing feeling, it's that even something that you translated.
It's electrical.
Something that you translated auditorially. In the early days, Esther described her relationship with us more electrically than any other way, because she didn't have vibrational vocabulary, and she didn't have enough experience with us to really know exactly what is happening. Now she has some words that explain the experiences, but in those days she said things like, feels like I've got my toe in a light socket, or I just got electrocuted, or lightning just struck. In other words, it was, and in every case, or in those cases like you're describing, it was just a relaxing of resistance somehow, some way. Doesn't really do any good to try to speculate what caused it, which allowed the natural energy to move upward.
Okay.
And what happens is, in the beginning, when Esther would stand at the podium, in the beginning she sat and held on tight because it was disorienting to her as the energy between where she was and where we were merged. But in recent years, as she stands at the podium, she in the early days, she felt a sort of swooning as the energies merged. Now, not so much, because she keeps herself there and is usually there prior to standing at the podium. So just say to yourself, it's energy in motion, and then begin watching. One of two things just happened when it happened. One was you focused with more specifics on your subject of high frequency, which caused an increase in momentum. But you see, that usually doesn't happen, because 17 seconds and another 17 seconds and another, that momentum usually doesn't pick up speed like that. But think about the speed that is already there and letting go of the resistance of it.
Yeah.
Doesn't that describe it more? It's sort of like the slingshot, in a sense, that you're pulling back and back and back. When you let go, it goes fast. So in the releasing of resistance, the momentum that was already calling calls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We love it when we give you the perfect answer that you can hear completely in vibrational terms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enough?
Enough?
Really good.
Thank you.
It also means you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on. It also means you're enough in sync with the energy that it's time for you to start listening, because you're ready to do something more with it if you want to.
Hello. I know you talk about your grandchildren a lot. I have 3 of the most amazing grandchildren, but 2 of them live in Aurora, Colorado, and 1 lives in Fort Worth, Texas, and I live in Kansas City, 8 hours both ways. I would like to be the grandmother of my dreams and have them closer to me. I have checked with my son. He's ready to move home, and I'm ready to have them home. And I'm wondering how in my motherhood and my grandmotherhood I can assist that from my own vibrational standpoint to allow them to line up with me. It's kind of confusing, so that we all achieve what I selfishly want, is to have my grandsons home. I saw little boys in Little League uniforms in the store and almost cried because they are so far away from me. I want them where I can hold them and write Abraham books for them and things like that. But I'm not sure how. I can't create on his grid, right? But I want my family home. I want them close. And I need clarity on how to. What can I do?
Well, there are a number of things that we want to say to you. The most significant is that when you think about what you want and why you want it, and you identify why you want it, I want to know them. I want to get to experience their daily, obvious evolution. I want the fun of interacting with them. I want in on all this good stuff. When you identify what you want and why you want it, and you do it from a place of no yearning, no strong activity in your vibration of what you're missing, but just that pure vibration of what you want, then the universe and law of attraction can orchestrate some paths of least resistance that get you all to the same place. You see, it's an interesting thing. We're talking about these vibrational spinning grid discs, right, and how when you choose them, that all cooperative components will land on the disc with you, and we mean that in vibrational terms, but we also mean that in really literal terms. Okay. So what's required for any rendezvous? Well, you get bogged down when you try to affect a physical rendezvous. Right. In fact, you worked against yourself in the beginning of this conversation as you described where this one lives and where this one lives and where you live. In other words, you were sort of making a case for your separation by acknowledging the existing separation. So when you decide that you're going to get out ahead of it, ahead of the manifestation vibrationally, and you start viewing them and yourself as vibrational beings who have vibrational vortices, who have vibrational grids that you are establishing, and you concentrate on the only thing that you can focus upon, which is what you're doing on your spinning vibrational disc, and you trust that law of attraction will bring it all together, then you can begin visualizing that physical rendezvous. When we talk to you in vibrational terms, as we just did, we can feel that we make more headway with you than when we speak with you in literal terms of people moving from place to place. Right. And the fact of it is that if they were to move now, there would be more vibrational disadvantages than advantages. Okay. In other words, we're just saying to you, it's too soon for anybody to make the move, okay, because you haven't done the vibrational work. Right. Now, you could kick up enough of a fuss, or you could exert your enthusiasm in a strong enough way, and you could tilt the behavior, it's what sales often is about, in your direction, where you get someone to at least temporarily begin agreeing with you, and they would make the physical move. But we promise you, if anybody makes a physical move, it's sort of what we were talking about earlier today with the relationship conversation. If anyone makes the physical move before they have accomplished it vibrationally, right, it is not long lasting, and it usually just turns into another really emphatic, beneficial step one moment, okay, where you just know more of what you don't want and more of what you do want. Okay. And we just want to say to you, at this point of your desire, do your clarifying without that.
Okay.
So, is it possible for you to appreciate from a distance?
Yes.
Are you very good at it?
Sometimes.
Can you get better at it?
I've done a rage appreciation for them being with me, and I did a pretty good job that day.
No,
but then I went.
But you see, what goes wrong here? We're interrupting you because what goes wrong here is, what goes wrong with that is, and it's a very common thing, a lot of you are doing it. Esther laughs when she catches herself doing it because it's sort of a human tendency. I'll do the vibrational work in order to affect the physical response.
Yeah.
But my mind is on the physical response. And so I'll play these silly games in order to get what I want. And we say, we want you to focus upon getting what you want vibrationally. Almost to the point that you're satisfied with the vibrational getting. Because if you can become satisfied with the vibrational getting, the manifestational getting has to follow.
Okay.
But you can't fool the universe, and you can't fool yourself, and you can't be secretly yearning for the time that they all move home and live with you. You don't really want them to do that. And be a vibrational match to who you really are at the same time. You can have it all. You want their independence. You want their feeling of invincibility. You want their autonomy. You want to meet them on that disc.
Right.
You see.
I don't want them in the same house. Just within 50 miles would be good. 50 miles to Kansas City would be good. I just want to be with them a little more.
You're
they are
loving,
amazing children.
We know.
And
we know. Your loving, meddling tendencies
yes.
are far-reaching.
Yes. I'm grandma and I've got a right. No, just kidding. Sorry.
I'm grandma. And there is no one on the planet who spends more time thinking about you from my place of highest vibration. When I think about you, I do so from my alignment with the energy that creates worlds. And therefore my attention to you is meaningful and satisfying to me in the meantime.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Is it painful when we point through you? That's that bolt of lightning you've been feeling. Someone's pointing through you.